I thank you for being with us every week. And now we're going to turn it over to our very special guest. His name is Dr. Dondee Nettles, a former family wellness chiropractor and AM talk radio host. Dr. Nettles also had the fourth largest solo chiropractic practice in Arizona prior to becoming a stay-at-home dad and a home-based global entrepreneur. He now has the perfect blended family with his beautiful wife, Marcy, and together they have 4 great kids and 2 grandchildren. They're passionate about equipping, elevating, and empowering families just like yours to create a global legacy and to achieve their dreams. And Dr. Nettles is going to share some of his expertise and his knowledge about Life Vantage and his products and what they can do for you. So Dr. Nettles, thanks for being with us tonight. We're very honored to have you with us. Thanks for being here.
Oh, Paulette and David, it is my absolute honor. Thank you for inviting me to be part of your viewership and your listenership. It's my honor to do right by them and just hopefully give them some options and some understanding they previously didn't have prior to tuning in today. So how would you like me to start?
Well, why don't you begin, I would say, by telling our audience how a very successful chiropractor got into this business and how you learned about Life Vantage and its great products and how it could benefit people.
I'd love to. That's probably one of the most favorite things I have to talk about other than my kids, my grandkids, and my amazing wife, Marcy. But I'm going to kind of just piggyback off of something Paulette just said about when God closes a door, he's usually already has another door set aside for you, or you just have to give him the confidence and trust that he's going to open up another one. And the same was for me about 10 and a half, almost 11 years ago. I was at the height of my professional career. We were seeing between 350 and 500 patients a week, helping lots and lots of people. Had an AM talk radio show that would tuned in about 70,000 people a week were listening to, and having a great impact on health and wellness. And my personal passion is to equip people to be self-sufficient by giving them knowledge and inspiration, but more importantly, empowering them with information to go out and take control of their own health rather than giving somebody else permission to manage it for them. And that was my passion. And it was something that caught on like a wildfire here in Arizona. After moving here within 18 months, we had that 4th largest practice in Arizona. And it was just something I was completely sold out and passionate to. But in that pursuit, God kind of threw a wrench into my plans by allowing me to be a father. And fatherhood, to be honest, wasn't really something that I was planning as so much as it was, if it happens, it happens. And if it was meant to be, it will happen. Mm-hmm. And in 2006, I became a dad. And instantly, what I had not really planned on being became priority number 1. And that was to influence my son more so than I influenced my patients. And I didn't see it coming, in all honesty. My son was born on a Sunday, and I had 125 patients the next day, and I did not want to leave his side to go be with them. And for the next 3 years, I was looking for some kind of an exit strategy to allow me to be a dad, because that practice and that radio show kept me outside my home 80 to 90 hours a week. Wow. And I had no capacity to be a dad, but every intention on being a very successful one, and having a different relationship with my children than my father had with me, but realizing it was kind of like that song Cats in the Cradle, if you're familiar with it. My relationship with my kids was just the way my relationship with my father was. My father was a workaholic, a wonderful provider, but we didn't see him all that often. And it was the same with this. And it wasn't until my father brought it into perspective for me when he was dying of esophageal cancer, right before I saw this opportunity. And he made my brother and I promise him that we would spend more time with our family rather than finding ourselves in the situation he was in, apologizing to us for not being the father he wanted to be, but not having the ability to rectify that. And so I made the promise. 2 days later, my dad passed away, and I instantly got this burden of now, how am I going to keep that promise to my now deceased father? And as God would orchestrate it, about 3 weeks later, I saw the information about this company and the products that this company had to offer. And a year later, sold my practice. I've been a full-time dad and met my beautiful wife, Marcy, through this opportunity, through these amazing products. and I kept the promise to my deceased father. But here's the interesting thing about it. Just from the ability to contribute, which was my desire, I didn't become a chiropractor for the reputation. And I definitely didn't become a chiropractor for the benefits of the financial abilities that it gave me, because not all chiropractors have that. And oftentimes, and I'm not sure how familiar your audience is, but obviously the show is called To Your Health, so they're probably well aware of that. Chiropractors have a great reputation for the people that believe in what they do, but for the people that don't, they don't have a very good reputation. I've been called many, many times what I call an O doctor. So they say, "Oh, your name's Dr. Nettles. What kind of a doctor are you?" I'll say, "I'm a chiropractor." And they go, "Oh, you're one of them." And so I became an O doctor by people's responses. And I took it as a personal challenge to change their understanding of it, because just because they may have a disbelief or even ignorance on it doesn't change my ability to impact the world. And so when I saw what I am very passionate about now, it gave me the ability to be a father full-time from home, but also share information with people about an amazing product line and business opportunity that, just again, back to the contribution side of this, we went from seeing 350 to 500 patients a week in my town only, and only when my office was open, to now more than 40,000 people in 18 countries benefit from what I do now every single day. And that's just starting. So God's given me the ability to influence people, to educate people, and empower people in a much grander fashion than I ever was when I had doctor before my name. Or, I mean, they still call me Dr. Nettles, but I haven't seen patients in almost 10 years. But I'm an active participant in my son's life, not just the financial provider for him. I'm experiencing life with him. I'm teaching him stories, and my daughter. My daughter was born 3 years later. So now my kids are 10 and 13. My bonus kids are 24 and 27. And I have the ability to impact their lives too. And my grandkids are 3 and 10. So it's just giving back and utilizing the skills and talents God's given me are at a whole different level of what I do now. But it was a personal choice to be open, number one, because I would tell you I was a reluctant recruit into this kind of a business model. I had signs on my door that said, if you represent this industry, go away. I didn't believe it. I was ignorant. But now I'm extremely well educated about it. I'm passionate about it, and it's what my goal in my life pursuit is, to help other people have what we now have, and even beyond that.
How did you become? How did you find out about the company? Did someone call you up? Were you invited to a conference call? Was someone? I mean, how did you find out about it, and how did that window of opportunity open for you, Doctor?
Great question. So it was I would say it was uncharacteristic on how we approach people with our opportunity now, because I did get a phone call. Somebody who heard my radio show, and the company that we work with, you mentioned their name, Life Vantage, they were in the conversion process of being a retail-based company, toying with the idea of becoming a network marketing company, and they wanted to do it here in the Phoenix, Arizona area. So somebody said, "Hey, we heard this chiropractor on the air. Here, he gives his number out." They called me up and they invited me to take a look at it. Interesting part about it, I was already using the flagship product that they were telling me about. And I had been for about 3 months in my practice with my patients, but I was getting it at GNC and Rite Aid and some of the other local retail establishments here in Phoenix. And when they shared it with me, I was saying, "No, that you're mistaken. You got the product name wrong. I'm already using that product in my practice with my patients." And they said, no, we are converting it into network marketing, which put me in a very cumbersome situation, because I did not, and I'll be completely transparent, I did not have a favorable opinion about network marketing, but not because I'd ever done it or been involved with it 30 years and the company shut down. I had no experience other than my observation of other people's experience that did it wrong. And so I was open. And so they flew me out to their headquarters, shared with me what their vision was, and I became distributor number 114 of the first 127 people that really took on this opportunity to share it with the world. And a year later, sold my practice and been doing it full time ever since.
Wow, that's fantastic. Wow. Now, it's interesting that you point out that you had the same opinion of network marketing at the time that some people have of the chiropractic profession still today. Now, more people have become aware of the fantastic abilities of chiropractors to address illnesses. And chiropractic care has a lot greater respect today than it did before. And I think what we're doing through Life Vantage is making people aware of the fact that network marketing, a line of products that really benefits people's health, is going to improve the reputation of network marketing, as well as the type of products that we distribute.
Oh, you're so right, David. And funny story was actually a potential patient that came, and this is something that happened to me all the time. I got solicited by probably every network marketing company that had a wellness-based product out there. And this one day, this gentleman, I'll already remember his name was Anthony, and I wish I could find him and track him down and thank him. But he said, "Hey, Doc, I got some great products I think will help your patients." And I was like, that pitch had been given to me so many times. And I said, "You know what, I'll save us both some time and some anguish here. If it's network marketing," and he goes, "Yeah, it is." And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't believe in that." And that was my exact words. And he looked at me very astutely. And the guy was very professional, well put together. And he said, "Wow, that's a very ignorant statement from an educated man, but very matter of fact and not condescending." And he said, "Let me ask you something. Has anyone, or have you ever met anybody that said they don't believe in chiropractic?" And I said, "Yes, actually all the time." And he said, but your belief is not changed by their disbelief, is it?" And I said, "Not one bit." And he says, "The same thing exists here. You are simply educated in something that people who think negatively about what you do are ignorant in, and the same thing exists here. Would you care to overcome your ignorance?" And I was like, I was waiting for Alan Funt, if you remember the show Candid Camera. I was waiting for him to come out, and I was thinking to myself, I can't believe you said you didn't believe in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, but this guy was so good at handling objections. And I said, "You know what? You're absolutely right." But what he didn't know is I had just finished reading the book called The Cash Flow Quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki, when he talks about the leveraged income from a B quadrant business, and that he was explaining how network marketing is a great option for that. And his later book called The Business of the 21st Century dealt directly with it. So I was open. I went and listened to his pitch. It just wasn't the right product line for my practice, but literally less than 2 months later is when I found out about Life Vantage. But had it not been for that gentleman and his approach, doing exactly what you said, paralleling my disbelief or my belief in chiropractic when many people don't believe in it, but having their disbelief not change mine, the same thing existed. And now I'm very, very blessed and honored to say I'm a network marketing professional who used to be a chiropractor, but I had my opinions changed by a very astute person.
That's awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so now you find out more about Life Vantage and its line of products. What were you the most amazed and taken with when you learned about this company and the products that they produce?
Cool. It was from the clinical side of my experience with the flagship product. My background is in corrective chiropractic, meaning what orthodontists do on teeth is very similar to what I did with spines through rehabilitation, stretches, and exercises. And it's all based on x-rays and mathematics, and which is an absolute science. So people can't fake an x-ray. I can't fake an x-ray. And when I share with them what their x-ray looks like, how far off angles are, or how many millimeters something is shifted to the right, I can share exactly where they are and where we need to be, assuming they're on board with that corrective strategy. And it worked well. I did that for 12 years. Well, implementing this product into my practice of something that was a well-oiled machine and very predictable. Math is predictable, David. I mean, if you were a patient, I could tell you this is exactly what your curve has lost, like 50% loss of curve. If you do your exercises and home care and you meet me on the frequency that I tell you, we can be able to correct that in 6-9 months with very, very good, accuracy in that. It was very predictable. But what I saw was this product implementing into my already established practice protocol improved my patients' results in frequency of correction, or how rapidly they were changing and how much they were changing, between 30 and 40% on average. And that's when I thought, oh my gosh, that's why I was using the product in my practice, and my patients were getting it at GNC and Walgreens and Rite Aid. And so when the opportunity came my way, overcoming the disbelief wasn't there. I already had the belief clinically and the patient results in my practice of the product I just had to get over, I'd be sharing it with a network marketing opportunity as opposed to sending them GNC to get it. But it was the science and the fact that there was published science in medical journals, not pharmaceutical and medical journals, not supplement journals, that were backing up this supplement-based product. I'd never seen that before, and the practice results spoke for themselves. So it was just now a matter of me getting over my own shortcomings about network marketing. But the product science was there, the benefits were there, the clinical outcome measures within my patient base was already there, and it was phenomenal.
Well, actually, the products are the yin and the yang to your practice, because when you really think about, and you're the expert on this, but what you do, doctor, is you actually use techniques that help the body to heal itself, to basically, that the body has an incredible amount of resilience and the ability to heal itself with a little help from a chiropractic adjustment. And these products that Life Vantage produces are not so much supplements as they are activators, allowing your own body to activate what it needs to correct itself and to improve health overall. So basically, you guys are working together.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I think it was so easy for me to wrap my mind around, because there's two quotes that are very famous within the chiropractic profession. The first one is, the power that made the body heals the body. And that is when sperm and egg come together, the hair color, the height, the final growth dimensions of that person is already established when sperm and egg come together. That's the power. And the other quote is, health needs no, or wellness needs no help. It just needs no interference. So the power is already there. It's now just taking away or removing interference to its expression of its wellness capacity and letting the body do what it's designed to do. So, and that's where vitamins are great, supplements are great, but wellness is not predicated on how many vitamin C milligrams I get every day. It's predicated on whether the power is working, and if I can feel my pulse, it is, and then removing any interference to its natural expression. And so as a chiropractor, I firmly believe that and owned that. These products just allowed me to have another arrow in my quiver because of that activation. And here's really the polar, or this is really the fundamental difference between supplements and activators, as you mentioned them. Supplements help us supplement something we're deficient in. But activators turn something back on that has gone dormant, but it was already there. So again, wellness needs no help. It just needs no interference. And whatever caused our mechanisms to slow down or turn off, if we have the ability to turn them back on, it's not violating the rules of biology and the rules of how our bodies work. It's just working with the body's natural recuperative powers and equipping it to do its job. That's why I fell in love with the company and the products, because it didn't violate my ethics or my philosophies as a healer. And it just meshed perfectly with them all. And as a believer in God and somebody who honors the human body as it was designed, my job is just to facilitate its magic and let it work the way it's supposed to work. And this works wonderfully in that attempt to do so.
Yeah, and go ahead, Paula, please.
I just want to say one thing real quick, David. Dr. Nettles, thank you so much for what you just shared. And let me say this. To the audience that's listening, I am certainly not a doctor, but I want to say to Dr. Nettles what he just said, and to the audience. When I heard, and I was on a conference call, and I was one of those people, don't bring me something if it has to do with network marketing. When the company I was with closed down and they were a direct sales company, I just had that turn off button with network marketing. I became so, just my mind and my heart was so open to this science and research. It didn't matter to me if it was network marketing, because all that came to light when I understood Life Vantage, a 10-year-old plus company, $250 million solid, debt-free, traded on NASDAQ, and we have products that nobody else in the world has. Then when I heard the science and research, Dr. Nettles, I want people in the audience to hear this tonight. I don't have a background in health, so to speak, but I have a background in believing in what God can do in the body. I have a background in believing in health and wellness. And I also am a believer in helping other people. And I know what our product can do, what it can help the body do. So I really appreciate everything you've shared so far. David, I'll turn it back to you.
No, thank you very much, Paul. And that is the whole thing. Is I think that you can have, there's good and bad in any opportunity. There are some people that are into the network marketing, that are dealing with products that they cannot be necessarily proud of. Life Vantage is a company where if you try their products, you will see and you will feel the results, and you can go forth telling people about these wonderful products, and it is something that really benefits the end user. It's not something where, I don't like to think of it as multi-level marketing. That's a very bad term. Network marketing is an opportunity to let people know through word of mouth, through the the power that God gave us to let other people know that there is a better way to heal yourself, and through that you can attract people who say, hey, I also want to benefit humanity. I also want to help people to better themselves, and I can do that through getting involved in distributing these wonderful products. Tell us, Dr. Nettles, a little bit about your thoughts on the latest Protandim product, the NAD.
Oh, I'd love to. It really, for me, and I'll just try to make this as simplistic as I can, David, is that understanding how this works is really kind of looking at a comparison between a wild animal kept in captivity and that same wild animal living in its natural environment where it was, in the wild. Is that healthier, that the more natural somebody is, or the more natural a species of animal is, in other words, it's living where it was created, it's living up to its own physiology. If it's a hunter-gatherer, it's doing that. If it's an herbivore, it's doing that. We find that there's very, very, very small incidences of disease when animals are allowed to live naturally, unless we pollute their environment, for example. But animals that are held in captivity, like wild animals in a zoo, are the most unhealthy animals because they've gotten completely away with their natural way life expresses itself for that animal. Like if you've ever been to a zoo and it's like lion feeding at 1 p.m., everybody wants to go watch the lion be fed these big chunks of steak. It doesn't have to hunt anymore, so it's not as healthy physically. It eats, and lions don't eat every day at 1 o'clock on the Serengeti. They have to go chase down a gazelle if they eat. And so the only reason I gave you that foundation is human beings are very similar. When we live outside the natural expression of how our life is supposed to live, there's always consequences. And I don't know anybody that, especially this time of year, we're getting ready to move into the latter months of the year. People are going to start thinking about New Year's resolutions and losing some vanity pounds or getting in better shape or running a mile in whatever time. People are starting to think health conscious. And what happens is they're pursuing more natural methods of doing so than they are pharmaceutical methods. I mean, if you give people a health option, say, well, here's a pharmaceutical or here's a wellness option or a natural option, which one would you like? Most people are going to choose a natural option. So honoring that if a natural option allows your body, my body, anybody's body to express itself in a more natural way, the end result is going to be much greater as far as benefit is concerned. So now, giving you that foundation, let me answer the original question. NAD is a molecule that, and I'm going to mention a name, Dr. David Sinclair, out of Harvard and MIT, has been studying this molecule for the last 20 years and is probably the world's authority, at least in my opinion, on this NAD molecule. And by the way, it's not pronounced NAD. It is NAD. It's an acronym, and for nicotinamide adenine tridinucleotide. So it's an acronym, NAD. But what he's found is that NAD is not just a molecule in isolation. It fortifies what are called sirtuins, and sirtuins are a protein. that the human body has 7 of them in all cells in our body, whether it's a hair cell, skin cell, blood cell, muscle cell, cardiac cell. All of our cells have 7 of these sirtuins. And consider them like the C-suite executives of cell function. So we've got a CEO, we've got a CMO, we've got a COO. So they're the 7 most important variables, in this case proteins, that manage the function of the cell. They are completely dependent on the presence of NAD. So if we want to have as efficient of managing of normal biology, forget about, just some people would just be happy to get back to normal, forget about thriving, but we're focusing on thriving. In order to thrive, all 7 of these sirtuins that all of our cells have must be working at peak efficiency. And the only way that happens is in the presence of NAD, sufficient amounts of NAD. NAD is so critically important, and we have the ability to stop the production of it through means like strychnine as an example. If you stop NAD production, that species, whether it's a mouse or a human being or a lion, will be dead within 30 seconds. NAD is that critically important, not just to thriving, but surviving and just having a heartbeat. So once Dr. Sinclair discovered the importance of this NAD molecule and finding out natural ways, as opposed to pharmaceutical ways, to give our bodies more NAD, it was a groundbreaking discovery. And over the last 20 years, he's figured out how to do this. We just took that approach and brought it into a very simplistic herbal way of doing it that honors the body in the easiest way possible. And so the 4 ingredients that we came up with in doing this, which is wasabi, cuprous niacin, which is copper and niacin, theacrine, which is actually ground up petals of a flower, and what's the other one? I'll think of it here in a second. Olive leaf extract. So these 4 ingredients, when put together like a recipe, trigger this switch in all the cells of our body to produce an increased level of NAD. Significant, like doubling it within 24 hours. Our body's production of NAD as it is within 24 hours of taking our product is 100% increase. Now, what that means is now all of our cells have the ability to improve the efficiency and their function by 100% efficiency in just 24 hours. Now, how that manifests, because again, it affects every cell the same way, whether it's a hair cell, skin cell, heart cell, blood cell, depending upon the individual needs of that person, when that scenario happens and that flip or that switch gets triggered and now this NAD pathway is working at a higher rate of efficiency in that person's body, it's across the board what we see. Because everybody has a different challenge. Everybody starts from a different vantage point when they start day one. But here's the most magnificent part of it. As we fortify the body's cells to be more efficient, they start doing a more efficient job. And cells make up organs, organs make up systems, and systems make up human beings. And when every single cell is working more efficiently, within a short amount of time, that entire human body is working more efficiency. And we now just start from an aerial view. And so we just introduced this product literally less than 2 months ago. But there has not been any system in the body that I have not personally witnessed or heard stories and anecdotal testimonies from people having absolutely incredible healing. And I look at it and go, well, what did we expect? The human body has an immune system. The immune system has the ability to fight off every disease that a doctor can title or give a diagnosis for. We've just lost the ability to have faith in our immune system. And this product has literally given us the ability to not only have faith in our immune system, but have faith in the human species by giving it what it needs, by fortifying it literally at the DNA level. And that's really what our product has done, is given us the ability to start writing our own stories of miraculous recovery, not because of our product. And let me be very clear on that. The discovery that the product has, and when people take it into their body, it simply fortifies the magic of the body God gave them. Then we just get to sit back and observe what actually happens. That's the real magic in this. But that's a long answer to your question, Dave, that NAD has given us now the ability to start rewriting people's stories by giving them hope they never had before, but not in a doctor, not in a prescription, in their own bodies, by fortifying what it was created for and giving it permission to do so.
Yeah, the big pharmaceutical companies and the pharmaceutical industry always seem to think that the products that they're going to provide will fix what's ailing us. Whereas with these products, again, you said they're not a cure, they're not a treatment, but what they are is helping our own body to heal itself through the ability that God gave us. Now, we talked about NAD. Now we have, when you combine that with the NRF1 and the NRF2, the other flagship products from Life Vantage, you have the Tri-Synergizer package. And I like to think of it this way. A lot of people talk to us a lot about, like, well, if you have to pick one of the big three products that Life Vantage manufactures, which one would it be if you could only pick one? Well, my answer to them is, if you want to drive a car, what's the most important part? Do you have to have a steering wheel? Do you have to have the brakes? Or do you have to have the accelerator? The bottom line is you need all three in order to drive that car. And that's the way I look at it with the Tri-Synergizer package with Protandim. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm in complete agreement. And I was wondering where you were going to go with that, and I was hoping you wouldn't put me in an awkward situation if you did pick one. And I'm glad the way you spelled it out that way, because that's a very good analogy and the exact one that I use. It really depends on people and really what their intentions are, because there's people that will say, I want to get in shape because I'm going to be best man at a wedding and I just need to fit into my tuxedo. Then I'll say, you know what? Maybe our products aren't for you. Maybe Jenny Craig is more your speed. But if somebody says, you know what? I don't really care about what I fit into. It's about, I have a history of disease in my family and my friends and family, and this is me as a 54-year-old man, this is becoming very evident to me. There's people that I love and care about that just in the last year, my very first girlfriend, my first professional mentor, and my best friend have died of heart attacks in the last year. And so when I look at it and say, you know what, I don't want that same scenario. I want to do everything I can to be proactive in my health and go after it. So depending upon that conversation, I want to figure out what their ultimate intentions are. And if it is to establish the best health they possibly can, the only answer is which one would I choose would be the Tri-Synergizer, all three. Because that's really, if you look at, and then I'm going to geek out a little bit on cell physiology, but I'm going to keep it simple.
That's fine.
Every cell has a nucleus. Every cell has mitochondria. And every cell needs to have communication between mitochondria and the nucleus to be efficient. Our first product, NRF2, allows the nucleus to work more efficiently. Our second product, NRF1, allows the mitochondria to work more efficiently. But before we brought in NAD, we had a more efficient nucleus and a more efficient mitochondria team working properly, but they really weren't communicating optimally with each other. So we had we had wonderful experiences with people on our products. We just didn't have the slam dunk that we have now. So the Tri-Synergizer is fortifying the nucleus, fortifying the mitochondria, and most importantly, getting them to communicate with one another at the rate of efficiency that their body was designed for, not overpowering a system because of what, and this is what pharmaceuticals do, but because there's always going to be side effects along with that, honoring the body's ability, because my body at 54 works different than a 24-year-old body. Even though we take the same product, it's going to fortify my body to do what it needs to do at 54 and a 24-year-old body to do what it needs to do at 24 with the same exact three products. But if you only take one in isolation, you're missing the entire point, which is the synergy and why we call it a Tri-Synergizer. Getting the nucleus, the mitochondria, and overall cell function communicating so that the body knows what the cells are doing and the cells are telling the body what it's doing and the brain orchestrating it all. It's kind of like NAD is the conductor of a symphony. You may have the wind section with all the trumpets and the trombones and the French horns, and you got the string section and you got the percussion section. You may have amazingly world-class talented musicians, but if we don't have somebody orchestrating it, you would just have very talented noise. And that's what happens when you take one of our products out of the equation or try to take one in isolation. The best thing is to have all the musicians present, have the conductor conducting them, so we have a symphony of wellness rather than very talented noise, which is something that we had prior to NAD. And I'm not diminishing any of the benefits of our NRF1 and NRF2 products. NAD just brought them together and fine-tuned this already amazing instrument that we have, and now we're creating amazing music from it.
I think that's one of the most brilliant ways I've ever heard it put, Doctor. And with your permission, I'm gonna use that in the future. My next question would be about the idea of the network marketing. Obviously, you became a believer in these products. We know what they help our bodies to do, what God wants our bodies to do, how we're supposed to live. Now, how do you, in your practice, or I know you're not practicing chiropractor at the moment, but how do you help to recruit other people or get them interested in getting involved with this wonderful company?
Great question. And I, to be completely transparent, David, I just share my story to create an interest, or to create a relationship with somebody to even determine whether or not they would be open to hear what I have to offer them. And I'm coming at it from a place of knowing already that the world has never been more focused on pursuing health or being healthier as a mass population ever before than right now. We've also never had more information at our disposal in pursuit of that ever before than right now. And you and I both come from the Encyclopedia Britannica era, but now we have Google. Within a nanosecond and a click of a mouse, or however you're doing it on your phone, a swipe, you can get more information than you need, but you have to sift and sort through that. But what I know to be true is more people want health than ever before. And the other side of that, because of the world going to a part-time workforce in the traditional business model, there's more people wanting additional side hustle money or an additional income stream than ever before. I know that already. So now it's just a matter, and the answer to your question is, I'm not trying to sell products.
Sure.
I'm not trying to convince people why they need to go into business with me. I already know what I know, and I share information with people and allow them to decide one of three scenarios. It's like, I really am, I want to be a consumer. Those health benefits sound great. I want those products, and I show them how to get them, and they do. Or the other is, oh my gosh, I'm coming up my MBA. I mean, I've already reached the height of my professional advancement up the corporate ladder. I can't get any further. My boss is younger than me, and he's not going anywhere. So I've either got to be comfortable right here and be patient until he dies, and that's not likely because he's younger than me, or find something else. And I already know that when they look at these as an option, we are a transparent company. We're publicly traded. Our products are scientifically backed. And I encourage them to go do their due diligence. And I know when they do, if it meets their criteria, they'll be back. But not because I'm a good salesperson, because I'm an educator. I want to educate them on what the benefits are, either of our business or our products or both. And if they're not looking for either, they know someone who is. And so if they don't join my business as a customer, or they don't join your business, or we all represent the same company, they don't join my business or your business as customers or distributors, I guarantee they know people that are looking for exactly what we have. Then it's just a matter of be a decent human being and share the information with them, because it's not about sales. And that's really honestly what kept me away from network marketing for so long, because all my friends had friends and family that didn't talk to them anymore because they handled it the wrong way. They didn't just come at it from a human being perspective. And that's what I love about this, is that I know people want to be healthier than ever. I know people want to have extra money coming in. And if our product line and our business model meets their criteria, why wouldn't they join us? I really handle it from that way. So hopefully that answered your question, but it gives us freedom to not have to worry about what somebody thinks or whether or not we're going to tarnish relationships, because it's not based on that. It's just, here's what we have. If you like it, come take a look and join us at the party. And if not, there's other parties out there.
Well, you're absolutely right. And that's what I was looking for you to say, and you did. And that is that our job is not to sell anyone. Our job is to educate and then let people make up their own mind. And with the quality and the integrity of this company and the clinical research, independent clinical research, by the way, not paid for by Life Vantage, but independent clinical research, which shows the value of our products. Education is the way to go in terms of helping people to decide for themselves if this is the right way to go. And I certainly do believe that it is. Paulette, did you have